Hello there. In the light and grace of God, welcome to God's Way, YTVY. I'm Adolphina Shephard. This is my co-host, Thomas Knight Templar.
Good evening, everyone. I wasn't expecting that. Okay.
Well, let me be the first one to say Merry Christmas to you. And let me tell you what's going on with the show a little bit tonight. We have a couple of fabulous guests as usual, and a very important topic. We're going to be discussing the importance of balance in the ascension process. Now, by my calculations, that's 97% of the population. So even if you don't know that this is one of your primary soul's missions, it is. So, without further ado, let me introduce you to our first guest, Gabriele Weber. Gabby, hi.
Hi.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having us both. Thank you.
You're welcome. And so, Gabby, you know, you've been on before, but not all of our guests have met you or perhaps watched that particular show. So how about you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so I'm actually a healer and a channeler and intuitive, and I've been doing readings and healings for a long time, many years. And I started to see auras. Actually, I see auras, and I started to see auras when I was about 14 years old. And I always knew that I was intuitive, even like from the age of about 5 or 6. I was playing hide and seek with my friends in the yard, and I knew where they were hiding.
You cheated.
And I cheated.
Okay,
And
you
they
cheated.
said, "You
Either
cheated."
Aurora.
And I'm like, no, I did not cheat. And I never did that again. I never would go, okay, I can't know where they're hiding. So that was one of the first times that I was kind of like, well, I guess I'm a little different than they are. Just a little. And I didn't know exactly what it was at that time. You know, you're 5 or 6 years old, but you just know there's something different, and you know some different things, but you didn't get it yet totally. And so as time went on, I started reading books about auras. My sister was already into psychic and spiritual stuff. So when I was 7, 8, I started to read books on auras and energy. And then I knew that, oh, this is what I do. You know, oh, I see those energy things, you know. And so
Is there a history of family clairvoyance?
no, there wasn't any history in my family that I'm conscious of. Okay.
And you didn't tell the priest, did you?
No, did I tell the priest?
No, you didn't tell him you saw
I'm
ours.
sure.
No.
They
no.
would never
No,
believe
because-
her.
Well, they would believe me, but I didn't know. I already knew that, oh, you don't tell anybody this. Not in that timeline.
Oh, right.
Because in those timelines, you know, it was that's woo-woo stuff, and you know, and I already
That's
figured.
Rosemary baby stuff.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
wasn't going to open my mouth on that to too many people. And so, you know, as time went on, I wanted to help people in my life. And initially, I wanted to be a psychiatrist. But then I decided to change my major to psychology. So I eventually graduated with a degree in psychology. And I also got a degree in holistic health, one from Villanova, one from Rosemont College. And then I took classes in Reiki, in hypnosis, and different healing modalities. And eventually I had a car accident, and I died. I went to the other side. And when I was on the other side, I talked to the angels, and it was so nice there. It was so beautiful. And I was like, you know, I want to stay here, but I think I got to go back. And the angels would tell me, yes.
Got time to go back.
You got to go back, and there's work to do. So I went back through this tunnel like a lot of people explain it, that it is the tunnel-like energy. And so then I was in the hospital, and I had so much stuff wrong with me, and I was in back therapy for about 3 years, 3 days a week for about 3 years. So I had a lot of pain, and I started to work with transmuting it with healing. And so healing energy would flow through me, and I would grow in the areas of not only healing myself, but helping other people to heal. And
Gabby?
at the same time, my abilities increased. So that kind of led me to eventually doing healing work, you know, and
I don't,
readings. Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
Yeah.
I don't want to sit here without
Okay, yeah.
introducing Joel.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you know,
Yeah.
this way he can be part of the conversation.
Yeah.
So let's add
So
Joel
we can
into
blab
this
to each
mix
other?
So we can blab to each other, right. So let me introduce her other half,
Okay.
Joel,
Hi.
and tell us a little bit about yourself,
I
and then
think
we'll
I'm
go
Joel.
further.
So, Gabby.
I thought it
and
was
I-
a Keebler elf.
Gabby and I met in the 1982. Oh my God, quite a long time ago. We've been together, huh?
About 36 years.
Okay, so it was like, wow, you know. I remember she was running around this track, and she had the most determined look on her that I ever saw for a woman running ever in my life. And I was like, oh my God, you know, I think I'm gonna go up to her and find out something, you know. So I went up to her and I did get her phone number and I called her and asked her out. And on the phone, we had like a half-hour phone conversation. And she told me the story of my life, and she wasn't even there. You know, so how was that possible? You know, so she has just amazing abilities in many different areas. I mean, I play the guitar, so I've played out in front of tons of people and all over the place at one time.
So you do a lot of, but you also do aura photography, and
Yes.
you're a musician.
Yes, yes.
And
So-
what else?
And I see people too, and do readings for people and intuitive channeling, and I can feel people's energy field if they have disturbances in their energy
Yeah.
field out here. I can feel that kind of thing. So it's just something I can do. So anyway, that's just, you know, where we go. And then in 1990, I was telling Tom, I had a horrific accident. I fell off the roof.
Oof.
25 feet, and I crushed my left wrist, combinated fracture, left distal radius. I mean, the surgeons are amazing. They fix things. They're wonderful.
Yes,
Okay?
yes.
But it's the nerve damage in the hand.
Right, that, yeah.
Your fingers don't want to do what they used to do.
No,
And
not
now
at
you
all.
play guitar, though.
It took 10, 12 years.
Wow.
But I'll give you the last story here. Okay, Gabby did some healing work on my hand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? After they took all the metal and stuff out, she did healing work on my hand. So a week after they took the metal out, she did the healing work for a whole week and everything. And I went to see a doctor. And he asked me at that time if I could make a fist. And I made a fist like this. And I moved my hand back and forth like this. Not all the way, but back and forth. I was the only person he ever saw in his life after an accident like that who was able to do that.
Well, you know what? That's amazing. But you know what? It's the metaphysical healing and the healing that healers channel. And I'm sure you channel the most high energy because I can feel it myself. You know, and with your experience with going to heaven and then coming back, there's just so much.
That opens it up right away.
Yeah. So when you touch heaven on the other side, right, and then you bring back a bit of that, you're never the same, right?
No, I was never the same. I felt like it was like just feeling like you're almost a different person.
Yeah.
Like, because there were newer pieces of me that downloaded. And
Yeah.
it was all this extra light that came in. And so I felt so different. And then people would say to me, "You're different." And they could not explain what it was.
Yeah.
They would just say, and they said it in a good way, but they couldn't quite perceive it or, you know, but because different light had come in and I was shifting.
You don't look at anything
Right.
the same way anymore.
I don't look the same way.
You don't. No, not they personally don't look. You don't look at things the same way anymore.
I don't look at them the
You
same
know,
way,
you
and then
had,
some of
you-
my physical attributes even changed.
Yeah, but your abilities are enhanced.
And abilities really got enhanced.
Yeah,
And then after that is when I started doing more readings and healing work. Because I used to do counseling and therapy as the conventional part of my existence,
Yeah.
you know, from my degrees.
She has her degrees from Villanova, too. Villanova College and Rosemont College. And so she has degrees in psychology and all kinds of stuff. But that was never enough for her.
Well, you know what's interesting is, people think that those degrees are what count, but a higher level of learning is where you're at now, right?
Yeah, and that's what I think is the most important, and that's why I gave all that up to do healings, readings, to basically help people on their ascension path.
Yeah.
which is what it is.
Higher knowledge.
Higher
Because
knowledge.
the degrees that you
Yeah.
get here are from Earth. What you're doing and what we all
It's
do
like,
is
have you ever-
not from Earth. It's from God, right?
It's like
Yeah.
when there's certain books that are written, and they're written by psychologists, okay, and some spiritual people, but it's so jumbled information that on one page it says one thing, and on the very next page it says complete opposite. And it's a lot of misinformation.
And double talk.
And that's exactly
Right,
what it
and
is.
double talk.
I don't even want to say the name of the book.
Yeah.
All right? But the whole point, I try to get through this, and it was so tedious that it would have made a nice fire, you know?
Okay.
But when you come back from the other side, your abilities are enhanced. If you didn't have abilities that are notable, they certainly are after that, right? You had, for the lack of a better phrase, you had a taste of heaven.
I had it, yeah. And
You had a
what
taste of
what
heaven.
happened there too was Mother Mary appeared to me
Okay.
about within a day after the accident, and it's like in those Star Trek movies where they would say, "Beam me up, Scotty," you know.
You
and
see the, you
you
see
would-
the, you see the
yeah,
crystallization.
the crystallization.
I just saw that.
That-
I don't want to
that-
tell you where I saw
that-
it, but I just saw it here.
That's exactly what happened to me. I'm like laying there, I'm conscious on in bed, and all of a sudden in front of me, I'm like, oh, and they show you the image of what you're familiar with.
Yeah.
So Mother Mary would show me in her blue robes and her crown and, that whole thing. And I'm there looking, going, oh, and then she would just communicate to me that I would be okay and that I was here to work for the planet and to help people. And then she kind of, faded away. And she's come to me some more, after that. But that was something that occurred too.
Let me
after
tell you
I'd come
something
back.
about her accident that she told me. She loved the Carmen Ghia. She was driving a
That was your first
Ghia.
mistake right
Yes.
there.
That's right, yeah.
I remember that.
That's like driving
Down
around
the Schuylkill
with
Expressway
a tuna fish can
to
with
meet
tires.
a friend. She's driving her car. Somebody hit her from behind, just smashed into her. Okay, put everything from the back of the car in the front of the car.
Ugh.
Yes, it was a horrific accident. If you saw what the car looked like, you wouldn't see how anybody could have survived it. Well, there was somebody that jumped out right after the accident, and she was unconscious, who had a spray to put out all the fire.
Okay.
That was
Otherwise-
lucky.
Or otherwise, she wouldn't be here today.
Yeah, that was lucky.
So how many people in their cars in around 1980 have
A fire
Fire
extinguisher.
extinguisher,
No,
exactly
only
right.
firemen.
And we'll-
Probably
and we'll put it
firemen.
out. So
Well, truth be known, I have one in my truck.
Oh, do you have one in your
so it
truck?
was all preconceived in a certain way.
Yeah, oh yeah, I
Yeah.
get it. I
You know.
get it.
Well,
yeah.
I heard, I could not move, I could not open my eyes, but after I had come back into the tunnel, I'm laying there, I'm like, I can't move, and a guy's yelling, pull her out of the car. Car's gonna blow up, hurry up.
Oh, God.
And I'm there like,
Yeah.
I can't move, I can't open my eyes.
You were
what was the-
shocked.
what was the,
I was in shock, yeah.
Yeah.
the Carmen Ghia is a small
It was a
car.
Carnegie, oh, it was.
The
it was-
engine, I believe, is in the
Engine
rear.
was behind my head,
Yeah. Wow.
like, it was smashed in half.
Wow. Wow.
They
Well-
said nobody ever gets out anything like that.
Well, one of the things that strikes me is that you talked about, you knew that one of the things you were meant to do was to come in and help with the Ascension path. And I became very aware of it some years ago when I first started getting into the healing work on a metaphysical basis. I actually called the modality Ascension Healing. But then when I went on the internet, I saw that everybody was calling it Ascension Healing and we weren't doing the same thing. So I changed it to YTVY, but which was given to me. But the it's so important, this ascension process, because basically what God told me, he said, bring my children home to me. Let them know these things, you know what I mean? And help them, because that's what the ascension process is, right? It's working our way into superhumans. It's working our way into a higher evolutionary species, and it's working our way back to God, because we're all part of God. I mean, people don't realize that, right?
We have a divine in everybody.
Yeah, Gabby, you brought a picture about the Galactic Center and the cycle.
I did. Okay, so I don't know if people can see this.
Chris, get that?
Can you see
It might
that?
be difficult to see. Yeah. Can you see that?
Yeah, now you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Wow.
Yeah, that's like, if you figure that's our Earth, and that is the light coming from our galactic center. That is actually a physical light, and that occurs every 26,000 year cycle. We go through a cycle where we hit the middle, the center of our galaxy. And right now we're at a 26,000 year
put that
cycle where light is hitting our planet. And that has been starting about 2,000 years ago when, you know, a lot of the great masters started coming into this planet. You know, Buddha, Jesus, a whole bunch of the masters. And they were helping to bring in this ascension process because we were more ready for it. Ascension means greater light. We're all here to receive greater light, greater love, and to have a unity consciousness. And so, and that's what the masters were here for. They were here to basically preach that we are one, forgive, forget, and move forward with love, with trust. And so this light that's been occurring, and especially right now, we're right in the middle of our galactic center, which started in the very center, started 2012, I think December 21st, when they called it that time where people said, okay, you know, the Earth's going to end or blah, blah, blah.
Oh, with
But
the Mayan calendar?
yeah. And that's when this became exactly strong. It's going to continue like this. That light hits us all as a collective for our ascension and for our greater light. It is like a supernova coming in and bombing us with light, each one of us. And although some people are not conscious of it, everybody is receiving their evolution. And we're here to help people evolve even more, and there's ways we can do that. Now, with the ascension process, you know, there is one of the ways, because light is hitting us. And what is light? Light is a frequency. It is a powerful frequency. You know, when people have, like in technology right now, you have lasers and you have all kinds of things that are being used. Light that gets sent into people's body. And what happens? They get healing. You know, they use lasers for skin and for this and for that and other kinds of things. And because they know it helps people, and depending on the frequencies they use. But it's not only physical. It is on the emotional, mental, and spiritual levels of self. Light is helping us cleanse ourselves of our old stuff, our
Right, and
judgments,
that's
our
the
belief
challenge,
systems, you
our
know?
old stuff.
Yeah, our stuff.
Because when that
And-
light comes in, it's going to bring out the stuff that was hidden,
Right, and
that was
especially
below the surface.
right, and you know, when we particularly get this, God sends the light through the sun many times. So every new moon, every full moon, we get
Charged.
Yeah, we get
Yeah.
charged and slammed and everything else all at the one time. But I know that from working in a mental health clinic for 5 years when I got out of school, that we had to be in a half hour early when the moon was full because people would be they'd go a little crazy, right? So
So hard to work with them werewolves.
yeah,
You know,
right.
It is. You give them a fur coat, they think they own the joint.
Yeah, so even
Yeah.
back then, it was the moon, what they say, rules the waters and the tides and so forth. So, but the sun also is sending in the light and everything, projecting it. And when we get that, then it's going to push out the old stuff, like you're saying, and people feel it. And one of my things that I've been doing is help to hold the balance. And this is the whole key that we're talking about, because if the world were balanced, imagine how could we possibly have infighting,
All
wars?
this hatred
Yeah, and
that's being
division.
bombarded.
A division between races, for instance. I mean, that's ridiculous
It's all
because you know
orchestrated.
what?
It's all orchestrated.
Yeah, it's all orchestrated, but I mean, we're all the human race. You know, it's not, who cares if you're black, brown, white, green, or yellow? The point being is that we're the human race. And we have to come into a unity consciousness. And one of the things that, that will help do this, I found that I have worked with it in 4 or 5 different ways. And Gabby has some tools. I'm sure we all have tools, but I've talked to Gabby about it further. And one of the things is it's easiest to first make sure you ask God or whomever you work with. Let's say you work with Jesus or you work with Mother Mary. I work directly with Father God. So I'll ask Father God, to balance my yin-yang. That's key first, because you can't balance the other stuff until that's balanced. Once that's done, I found it really helpful to ask for your emotional and mental body to be balanced, because when you go off balance, especially on the weekends, I've noticed the weekends, the balance goes off because people are out there partying or they're not in their normal schedule or they're drinking, right, or whatever. And so that's key. And then one of the things, finally, to ask for all of your bodies to be balanced, because we have more bodies than you can see. And to be balanced with your chakras or accelerators, depending on your progress, and your assemblage points. Because when this is all in balance, you will feel so good. Now, if you find that everything slips off too quickly, it's because you need to transmute any negative emotions or energies into love, light, mercy, grace, and forgiveness. Forgiveness is key, right, Tommy? Forgiveness is key.
Without forgiveness,
And when you're
Ain't gonna
balanced,
work.
you'll be able to walk on water.
You might
Or
be.
float away if you want. Just float out of the room. That was one thing I remember as growing up. I thought, oh man, Jesus, he did this, he did that.
Yeah.
And I saw him in front of and being,
Yeah.
they wanted to get rid of him because he didn't fit in with what they wanted. And
Well,
so
he
I
didn't
thought-
want to put him to death. It was the
Yeah.
Sanhedrin that put him to death.
Yeah, so it's just, and I thought to myself, well, Jesus could walk on water. He could have floated out of that room if he wanted to. And said,
Right.
I'm not going to be put on a cross.
Right, he could have, certainly.
He had the ability to do that, but he chose not to.
Yes. Well,
Wow.
what a master.
That's a
What
sacrifice.
and you know what? Because he came in to show us how to do it. And, of course, he's...
The greatest metaphysician of them all.
and more,
And that's
part of the Trinity and so forth. But he came in to show us the way. And one of the things you have to understand is God is part of us all. And in the ancient documents, it says, okay, in the ancient Torah, before everything was transcribed, I learned this from Greg Brandon in his book, The God Code.
Braden.
And it said, he studied these documents for many decades, and he said, God said in the Torah, okay, I gave you half of me. Now go perfect yourselves. And then you, too, can work your way up to that. You see? People don't understand that.
It was an incentive program.
Yes. And you know what? This is where the mistake that the church and state for control of the people, they didn't want you to know that this is what Jesus came in to show you, that you too can walk that path without the crucifixion.
That's
Without the crucifixion, okay?
No, we don't want to do that.
In other words, if you knew what they took out of that book, okay,
Right.
you would be balanced already. All right, and you would know all of these ascension processes. You would know about other cultures and other worlds that come here to visit us. You think that it was by chance that somebody came down here and gave these people knowledge, all right, and then went away, all right? Where did they get this information from? All right, you think they had it? You think mankind was that advanced back then? They were not. That's why Jesus spoke to everybody in parables, so they can understand it. All right? And most of the cultures around here, like, the Hopi Indians and places in China and here and there that had these cave paintings, they all look the same. All right? And they're all from the Orion Belt. So that is where the center of life at that time came from. The star people.
Yep.
All right? We can't move those bricks today to build that pyramid. We can't move them. So how did they do it? Oh, yeah, they had 10,000 guys on a rope. Yeah, okay. Okay.
I know. You know, they try to explain the unexplainable rather than think that it was divine help that came in to help
Absolutely. They
mankind, to
didn't want you to
raise
know that.
mankind up, right? I mean, come on. So we know this. So the people need to know this. And I know Gabby has some simplified symbols that she's been using that, Gabby, why don't you bring them out and talk about that some and share
Sure.
that?
This is one that I find works really well in helping your ascension process because, you know, as we said before, the ascension process is bringing back into us our joy, our gratitude, our love, our peace, our empowerment as co-creators, because we are, as we said before, we're co-creators with God. It's a unity consciousness which we forgot, and we're bringing that back. So there are ways to you know, there's ways we can do it. We clear our stuff, which is one of the ways I help people with also, but I also can give you tools that will help in moving you forward in your own self-love. And here's one, and this is what we're going to do. I don't know if you need to put that in the center. Okay,
Chris, get this.
Do you have it?
Yeah, pull it. She's pulling it in closer.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, so I want
There we go.
everybody to really look at that. And that heart is that heart of love. And it is the wings of light. You know, it's these wings
On the
that
wings
we
of
all
love.
have.
It's on the
Yeah,
wings
the
of love.
wings of love. On the wings of love, the wings of love and light. And so we're downloading this. So I want you to kind of, now you can use whatever you want. You can use hearts yourself, but this is a nice, you know, something that's fun and joyful. When you think of fun and joyful, you forget about stuff. And so this brings a lightness to your being, a lightness and a healing. And so what we're doing right now is we're imagining this, that it's all coming down from heaven, and thousands of these are coming into your arc field, into your energy field, and into your whole body, into every cell of your body, every part of you. And so we are sending this healing love and light into all of you now with this symbol of love, of light, of joy, of gratitude, of peace, of serenity. And so we're just like, think like all these thousands of hearts bubbling down, 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 like animated. And they're all coming down into you. And I can feel it right now because it's going through my system into everyone's and throughout. And so this is something like you could use. And if you don't, you know, want to use this symbol, you use just a heart or hearts. And, you know, if you have some problems like in a relationship or at work or with kids or this kind of stuff, just imagine that you're in a bubble of light and you got all these hearts flooding both of you, around you and inside of you, so that you're both contained in a harmonious field of energy, which helps your ascension and the person you're having the issue with. Because you're working as a unity consciousness, and that is what ascension is all about.
We've had very advanced civilizations on this planet before. Atlantis, Lemurian
Yeah.
civilizations. And one of the downfalls of these civilizations after a long periods of the time was that instead of coming from their heart, they came more from their mind.
They became complacent. That's what it is. And we're doing the same thing
And
right
the
now.
mind started to rule
That's right.
everything and not their heart.
That's right.
And what Gabby's talking about there, the heart there, is the center of everything.
Well, now that we're in the feminine energy,
Yeah.
see, women come from the heart. They're very analytical of everything you say. They break down everything. And men, they come from logic, all right? You guys really need to soften up a little bit and come from the heart, because if you want to understand your spouse or you want to understand women in general, You have to put yourself in their shoes. They're people of the heart, of love, okay, of doing good things for people,
You know, I have a song
like that.
that would fit that.
You want to play it?
Yeah.
Go right
And
ahead.
it has to do with femininity.
You want to do it now?
Yeah.
Do it
Go
now.
ahead.
Do
Go
it now.
ahead. Do it.
It's here for Joel.
Yeah, come on, Joel. Well, we might want to save that until after. He's so good. You know.
Well, he brought it up.
Oh, I know. And you know what? What a great idea. But you're right, talking about that divine feminine and the male and female. And you know what? I'll tell you what. I know, because it's been part of my work, that that the mind has been merged with the heart, but it's still growing. You know, and so we need to all keep this in mind. That's part of the balancing.
Okie dokie.
Are you ready?
Almost.
Okay.
I got this.
Oh, it's for the harmonica. I just thought it was an orthodontic thing.
This is a song. The lyrics were written by a woman back in the 1890s. She wrote this song. She didn't write the melody or anything. Somebody else did that much later. But she wrote the words for this song. And she wrote the words for this song 30 years before women even got the right to vote in this country.
Wow.
So she was from New England, and you all will know the song when I play it for you here. But there was a word missing from this song that I added to the song. Okay, I thought of adding it a while ago. And I did my own arrangement for it. Willow beautiful, for spacious skies, for amber waves of rain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. Well, America, God shed His grace on thee, and He crowned thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Well, beautiful, for heroes proved in liberating strife,
There you go.
You know, wait a minute.
Feminine time.
While you're all hooked up and everything, you want to do the Christmas song you were going to do?
If you want.
Yeah, go ahead. Might as well.
Okay.
We can always go back to
Yeah,
our conversation.
Okay. Give another harmonica for that.
Okay.
I thought one size fits all.
But that song just makes me so emotional, that song. So it's, and the words in that, and he crowned thy good with sisterhood.
Yeah.
And she wrote this in the 1890s, and women couldn't vote till 1920s.
That's really amazing, truly.
So she saw the vision for our country. You know,
Yeah.
and may we build our soul in self-control. My God, who
Who
writes
speaks like
lyrics
that?
like that today? I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah. She was
So-
obviously quite awake.
Oh my God. Okay, this is a weird song that I wrote, but I'm just going to give you a
Weird
A weird Christmas song.
Okay, he said it out of
All right, let's
I
hear
don't
this
know.
song.
I don't know.
Let's hear
Okay.
this Christmas weird song.
But this isn't a weird song. No, I'm just going to do a quick one of this for this
Okay.
Christmas. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Dashing to the snow in a one-horse open sleigh. O'er the fields we go, laughing on the way. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Okay,
That's your jingle bells. That was good. Well, wait a minute. You said you made up, you have a song that
Yeah,
you
this-
wrote for Christmas.
Yeah, I did.
You want to
years
do
ago.
that? And
Okay.
then I guess we'll finish our conversation after
Yes,
that. Because
okay.
I'm
Yeah,
enjoying this. Aren't you enjoying it?
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. I wrote this song. You heard the story about my wrist was so shattered, and I wrote this song in traffic in the mid-'90s somewhere. So I was in traffic, and I wrote it in my head, and I went home, and I figured some chords and a melody, and this is called Hey Mr. Sunshine. Hey, Mr. Sunshine, won't you call on me today? Well, I've been frazzled and I've been razzled and I just don't know the words to say. Well, I've been rushed and I've been hurried. There's been ice and there's been flurries. So please shine a little light on me. Oh yeah, please, Mr. Sunshine. Hey, Mr. Sunshine, well, I'm lost without your smile. The roads are clogged with traffic, yeah, mile after mile, and there's nowhere I can go, and I just might need a tow. So please, shine a little light on me. Oh, yeah. Hey, Mr. Sunshine, you know where I wanna be. Hey, Mr. Sunshine, please, oh please, take me to Waikiki, take me. Hey, Mr. Sunshine, I see danger up ahead. Well, there are lights flashing and reindeer dashing and some guy in a sled. Well, there are cops all over taking notes and making a fuss. So please shine a little light on us. Oh yeah, Mr. Sunshine, you know where I wanna be. Hey, Mr. Sunshine, please, oh please, take me, everybody, to Waikiki, take me, yeah.
I'll go there.
Me too.
Mr. Sunshine, I see clearing up ahead.
your show in
Where are you
Hawaii.
getting those weird thoughts?
You said,
Like about 4 in the morning or something?
well, I was walking the beach on Waikiki. Oh, yeah.
Well, that was wonderful. You're so talented. I love to watch his face on the monitor because I can't see him from here.
Because he reminds me of, what's his name? Pete Seeger.
Okay.
All right, reminds me of like that kind of like folk type sounding music, and the expressions and the changes of octaves and things that he does in the song. It makes the storytelling vivid.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you can see
yeah,
it, and you know
yeah.
me, I see what I hear.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, that's why I hate horrible things.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I see what I hear. You know?
That was great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, but the worst part about it, you took me to Waikiki, you left me here.
Yeah, yeah,
All right, come on.
yeah.
But we're all in Waikiki now.
I'm telling you.
We're all in Waikiki with our reindeer.
Well, that's all right. That's okay.
And we're in Waikiki with our little hearts.
Let me sweat a little bit. They're animals. It's all right.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe they'll hear this song and want me to come to Hawaii.
Wouldn't
and
that be
and Give me
nice?
free hotel rooms. or something.
Maybe fly you there for
Fly
free
you
too.
there,
Who
yeah.
knows?
Wouldn't that be
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you'll be singing Flying Back to New York.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, now we'll get back to our subject matter because we only have, I don't know, 15-ish
Yeah,
minutes.
about 15 minutes. We're talking the feminine, divine feminine. So let's get back onto that.
Well, you know, it's been the patriarchal rule for too long, and look at where that's led us. So now it's time
You
for
think
the
it's been so
balance.
bad?
Yeah.
2 world wars, a couple of skirmishes, thousands upon thousands and millions upon millions dead. Okay?
Right.
And this was just recycling.
Yeah, and it's the war machine because the people who perpetrate this, they make money by making the war and also
And prolonging it.
yes, and they create the fear involved, and we don't want that no more. We call on God and say peace prevails. I say it to you, peace prevails.
Peace be
And
with
that's
you.
it.
The movement is moving too.
Yeah.
Because they're saying we don't want any of the old stuff anymore.
Yeah, we're done with that.
And it was interesting talking about the World War, like Second World War.
Terrible.
After that was over, you know, a lot of karma was cleansed, like a lot of old energy, because then it was like people are like, we don't want to kill each other anymore. Because we had to go through that process almost like to see what the heck are we doing to each other. And so at the end of World War II, there started to happen a lot of spaceships. People started seeing more and more spaceships
Right,
because
yeah.
more
Yeah.
of the light was coming
Flying
in.
saucers,
We had
ETs.
just
Yeah.
cleansed a lot, and Ascension was starting to move much quicker.
Yeah.
You know, and even more now, more and more people are seeing spaceships and here and there, because again, we're getting lighter, not only in consciousness but in our own Earth itself.
I
Is
just thought it
growing.
was hallucinogenics from what they're smoking. But,
Yeah, but
you know,
yeah.
But the vibrate
wow, look at that shit.
as the vibration rises, the veil gets thinner. So therefore,
Yeah.
we can see these things, and we are up. Well, let's just
Well, soon
say
there'll be no veil.
right. Soon there will be no veil. So you know, be prepare yourself not to be in fear just because you see things you never saw before. But right, prepare yourself for that. Live in faith and not fear, because fear is inverted faith. Now,
So talking about fear, but go ahead.
yeah, that's what I was going to go to. Gabby created this little symbol that she also uses, which I think is a great add-in to what I was talking about with the emotional, mental, body balancing, because this is key to your stability, whether you're in fear, whether you're in faith. Show them that picture. And Chris, can you grab that picture? Give it to Tommy so she can get a better visual. And yeah.
Oh, Mike's in the way.
Oh yeah.
How about that?
Oh,
Okay.
let's
So
let's
we have
move
a
this.
Tom
There
and
we
a
go.
Joel.
Yeah.
Mic up here?
Yeah. There we go.
So this is
You want to
actually
explain this?
yeah, this is actually the chemical symbol of serotonin. Now, so what's serotonin? Serotonin is that endorphin good feel chemical in the brain that brings people peace, happiness, joy, fluffy feelings, you know, all that good stuff. And that when you have that, it's easier for you to ride the wave of ascension because you're feeling good. You can feel gratitude easier. You know, it's easier to communicate with people, feel connected. So if we start to even vibrate, even if you can't get the symbol, or you go and Google it, and you absorb it into you, that will help you. But even if you just think of the word serotonin, and just like think of that. Think of it embedded in your wrists, or get a tattoo, on your wrist or somewhere that says serotonin. Because in your wrist, you have meridians that run through for your body and your energy. So this is something that can be really helpful in balancing when you're all upset and angry and fearful and, all that stuff.
Like a happy pill, a happy chemical.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. The
Yeah.
happy pill.
But
This is the happy
what
pill.
it basically is, as a happy pill, it's
Yeah.
like you're directing the positive thought. And that's what it is. When
Yeah.
you concentrate on a thought and you know it, learn it, believe it, and so it is, it becomes a part of you.
Right. Well, wait a minute. You know what? When people, they say it's a chemical imbalance, depression, right? Okay, and then they give you these drugs. And what the drugs what the purpose of those drugs are to increase the serotonin. So here, Gabby's giving you a symbol, and you can use this etherically, that it gets into your field to give you the energy that you need, rather than taking pills that, who knows
those
what.
pills, they don't have any direct correlation as to how much you need to raise somebody's out of depression, because everybody's different.
Right.
So you can't keep on giving the same thing to somebody, and it works for her, but it don't work for me, but it works for you, but it don't work for him.
Well, you can ask God or your angels to give you
adjust
the perfect amount that you need to live in joy. Let's say you do that, right?
Well,
Yeah.
you may not want to do that.
And if you even, you can
Because
even
there might
think
be
of
so
like,
much of it that you're going to be joyful anyway.
Yeah.
Didn't they have an ecstasy? Wasn't that one?
Yeah, one of them.
Joy
one of
is
the-
good. Joy, I'm sorry, joy is good.
I didn't say joy was bad.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that, the amount that you may need to
Oh.
feel joy
Right.
may not
right.
be good for you.
Oh,
Well,
well.
just even imagine that you've got a little emoji smiley facey thing, and it says serotonin on it, and imagine you pop that in your mouth, bingo, it's
Bingo,
dissolving.
you're feeling good. It's
No.
LSD on that
Yeah.
thing.
It's esoteric medicine. It's esoteric medicine,
It
right?
is.
I do things like this
Yeah.
all the time. It's a very good tool.
We speak
Do
about
that.
it all the time.
Do
about
that.
blessing
Imagine
the
you're putting it in
medications and
water.
things.
Imagine you're dumping it in water, it's dissolving, you're drinking the water down, it's charging you up with that frequency. So, this is some things that really work. In fact, I have some clients that I've been working with anxiety, and they're getting lower and lower, and I gave them this, and this helps them a lot.
I believe it.
It's like they're going, oh yeah, this helps me a lot. So I've been doing that, and there's a lot of some other things we can do that I think will be very helpful. And I was thinking maybe a burst in the balloon.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about
Oh,
the
yeah,
balloons.
yeah. She
Okay.
burst the balloon on
this-
me a little
yeah.
while ago, which really helped.
Yeah, yeah. I got this idea that like we in our aura and everywhere we hold these like balloons of
Joy.
joy, but balloons of crappy
peace.
stuff.
Happiness,
make
of
sure
love,
it's
and all the
visible.
good things.
All the
Hold
good
it
thing,
up
but
and do,
we have
like when you
those
do it like
fear
that.
energies
Yeah.
in our little, we have tons of fear energies in like these circles of paradigms of stuff around in our art field. So we're going to use them as a balloon
Yeah.
and burst them now with everybody. So that's going to be a fear balloon,
Yeah.
right? That's a fear balloon in our aura, because I don't know anybody that doesn't
See,
have fear
you
in
do
some
it with
way at
this,
some
and
point in
I
time,
do
right?
it. I do it a bit
Yeah,
differently.
so
but I
don't
do
be
it-
scared at any
differently.
sounds,
do is I
because
go
I
down
think
to
it's
my
time
beach.
to burst that balloon, right?
And
Yeah.
I pick up a stone.
Are you ready?
I
As
put
soon as he's
everything on that
ready.
stone and I toss it into the
Yeah,
kinetic
you
water.
told us-
Okay,
so-
kill it.
We're ready. This is
We're
fear.
ready to
Hey,
burst the
everybody,
balloon.
We're going
Don't
to
be
burst
scared.
it. Yeah, but this is fear.
Now, he's a
fear.
professional.
That's
Don't
the
try this
fe-
at home.
That's the fear balloon. Okay, so everybody,
This is a good
when we
visual.
bursted, you're all going to
Yeah.
get bursted. Ah,
Fear be
get
gone.
faster.
Fear's gone, right?
Brian, you are right in the booth, Brian. Okay. Brian's good. Okay.
Probably had him jump out of his skin if he wasn't paying attention. No, that was good.
I was saying to her, like, she says, put your things onto this balloon and burst it, and that rids it, and it does.
Yeah.
I do it, like when I go to my beach, I put it on a beach stone. I'll bless it, I'll say a prayer, I'll put everything on it, and I'll throw it out into the ocean, and I'll let the Blessed Mother and, all the angels take it and get rid of it.
Yes.
all
Yeah.
right? So it's just a symbolic thing to do to actually bring you peace and joy.
So the next
it
show we're
varies
going
ways.
to have is going to
And-
be on the beach.
Oh, wouldn't that
I
be
would love-
Show us how
wonderful?
to do that.
On my
yes,
beach,
on the
forget it. You have me on Waikiki, you can come to my beach here on Staten
You
Island.
know what I mean? That's what we need.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Especially
Maybe
this time of
spring.
year, Tom.
Maybe do an outdoor show.
We need an outdoor show on the beach.
That's it.
Waikiki.
Ooh, that's a good beach.
Yeah.
Now,
Do we have another
We have
balloon?
another balloon.
what did you
you'll
want to
burst-
do with that?
What'd you do with the other balloon?
Oh, it's over here. Anger.
The anger balloon.
Yeah.
All right, here. And we all get angry at times when people don't invite us to parties or whatever you want to think, or you're angry at your maid or somebody at work or, whatever. So just think of anger. We're going to burst the anger one.
We're going to burst the anger one.
Yeah. So ready?
Get ready.
Okay.
Don't jump
Burst
out of your
my anger
skin.
stuff.
Okay, you ready?
Okay. Okay, there goes the anger.
Okay.
Brian, we
So
okay
now-
in there? Okay.
So, and there's other things you can do too besides visualizations, but you could even say something
got 5
simple
minutes.
like, "I love you." Just to yourself, "I love you, I love you, I love you," because
I try
it'll
to tell people
accent
that
the
every day.
self-love. Yeah, it's a simple thing that'll help your ascension process.
Yeah, because everybody's on it, whether they know it or not. So you might as well make it easy for yourself and use these tools that we're giving you. Now, Gabby, you have a picture that we were going to talk about the child, right?
Yeah.
Chris, can you pull that in? Let's see.
Let's see.
Okay.
Okay. So what I wanted to explain with this one is about our ascension process helping about us becoming childlike again within ourselves. We forget we're these adults that have these rules and regulations and judgments. We're not here to judge. Again, the judgment, getting rid of that judgment
Yep.
helps you in a big way toward your evolutionary process. And as a child, we didn't do those kinds of
No.
judgments that way. So now, think of yourself as just a child going into this new adventure in life. This new, bright, new reality, rather than the old reality that you've been thinking of.
And don't
know?
children have joy? Children
joy.
have joy. We need to get back to that. But there's actually a saying in the Bible. Tommy
Yes,
probably
yeah.
will remember because he's always good
It
at this.
says, in order to come to my Father, you must come with the innocence of a child.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
When you look at this picture,
That's-
all right, you see the innocence of a child walking basically into the light.
Yep.
Because the child comes in with no hate, no animosities, none of that. Comes in pure. All right. It's only the indoctrination, all right, by the powers that be here on this earth, through our educational system, through what we see on TV, through what they call them, messages that come through the TV, and they poison our kids. All right.
And us too. That's
And
how
us
we
too.
got away from it. We
All
got
right.
away from being
We have become
joyous.
a society of hatred.
Yeah, no
And
more.
you can see it, all right, anytime you turn on that tube. You can see the level of hatred. If we do not get back to love as a race, we will be doomed.
And did you ever go to a beach
Yes, I
and
have.
see kids there? They
And-
love it there.
And how happy
It's the
they
kinetic
are.
Happy
energy.
they are,
Yeah.
it is.
It's the kinetic energy
Yeah.
of the ocean, the
Love being
repel.
there. They run around when 4 or 5 o'clock
What I
comes,
do,
their
Joe?
parents have
Yeah.
to drag them home.
Yeah.
What I do is I go into the water, and when you're just at the edge of the water, where the water comes over and then it repels, you actually feel like you're moving in the sand. I see it, Chris. All right? You actually feel like you're moving. So what I do is as the water's coming in, I breathe in God's energy, God's prana. And as the water's going out, I give it all the negative things, of, I don't even for myself, but of the world, and to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And to start to lessen the amount of hatred that we have on this planet.
Yeah, you know what? Let me
You got
just
2 minutes,
encourage
sis.
everybody to smile because you know what? A smile is a living prayer. And when you smile at someone, they feel it. And they smile back.
Yep.
And it changes everybody's whole perception. And so in this joyous season of Christmas, let's try to extend that through the year and smile more often and be kind because here's the thing. everybody is facing their own stuff. And because we get involved in our own stuff, we think it's only us. But everybody has their own stuff that they're dealing with.
Everybody has issues they deal with. Just say hello to somebody, how you doing, and they'll give you like 4 hours of stuff. Anyway, we have to end the show here. I want to thank our guests, Gabrielle, is it?
Gabrielle.
Gabrielle.
Gabby or Gabby?
And Joel.
Gabrielle.
All right, for the songs and for the knowledge here tonight. And of course, Sis is going sea.
Yes, I'm going on vacation.
Yes.
Oh,
Anyway,
can't
I'd
wait.
like to thank our sponsors, Antonio's Pork Store for the meal tonight in Tauntonville, and Great Aardvark Pest Control and Great Kills, like this is my buddy's company. Anyway, and our studio audience, and our TV audience, and our main man Brian in the booth, and Christine, and Richie. I feel like Romper Room. I see Richie. I see Christine. Anyway, what do we got, Chris? Half a minute?
Well,
all right, so we're about done.
Mr. Rogers.
We're just about
Mr.
done.
Rogers.
But we do want to say and wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And next year is 2020. Just think about it. The ones are gone. The teens are gone. We're in the 20s now. Can you believe it? 2020
No
in a
more
few
teenagers.
days.
Yes.
Anyway. All right, buon Natale, tutti.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
See you next year.